Hey guys, Camfrey15 back at it with another video for you guys, and I am back with another Masamune Kun episode review for you guys as we are continuing on with this show. Dual episode review for you guys because I missed the last two. I missed last week's episode, but I'm talking about episodes 9 and 10. And let's just say by the time you get to episode 10, some interesting drama ensues that it's seemingly enough. I don't know, but well, actually, I do know because I read the manga. But for the viewer, we get left off on another cliffhanger. So, episode 9. What does episode 9 cover? So, episode 9 covers kind of like Valentine's Day, and pretty much it's like we just have it to where Aki ends up making Masamune some cookies as a Valentine's Day gift, and everything. And then at the end of the episode, you get the scene with him and I think her last name is Fuji Amiya, which basically is the girl that also the redhead girl that also likes Masamune. They have a pretty interesting discussion right then and there within itself. But basically, what happens for the Valentine's Day, or what happens throughout episode 9 is Aki and Masamune, they go on a date, and they pretty much enjoy that date. That's pretty much it. They just go to these different places. The one thing we do see is Masamune is actually eating a bunch of stuff he typically didn't eat when he was getting his whole life changing around, doing this whole planning and everything to get revenge on Aki. But he ends up doing it to the point he actually kind of gets somewhat sick. But obviously he pretty much knows that, okay, I can't do the same thing that I typically do. I'm still gonna do what I typically am doing, which is staying in shape and everything. So yeah, so it was pretty cool that, hey, it seems like him and Aki's relationship is actually for the better, and it seems like things are working for fine and everything. Even though Aki knows about the thing Masamune did, which leads us into the cliffhanger moment from last week in episode 9, where basically Aki and Fujiamiya have a discussion, and basically Fujiamiya is telling Aki, like, why are you doing this? Why are you continuously still staying in this relationship? Or at first she plays it off like, Masamune doesn't really, yeah, or no, she tells Aki, actually, now remembering it, to break up with Masamune. Now, obviously, she's also saying this because, one, with what happened the last few weeks, Masamune feeling uneasy around Aki and everything, and the fact that also too, Fujiamiya also has feelings for Masamune, but and I feel like she was doing this one out of, I guess, in some ways, defense for Aki not to feel as bad, but I felt like she was also doing this because for her own selfish reasons, obviously. Now she tells Aki to, like, pretty much break up with Masamune. He doesn't love you like you think he does. But Aki pretty much kind of fires back saying, like, no. She's like, I do love him for who he is, and I'm not gonna break up for him. And she ends up revealing, like, yeah, she saw the thing about what Masamune was gonna do, which was doing the whole revenge plot line and everything. But see, the thing is, she doesn't really care, pretty much is what she said. She pretty much says, like, I don't know what happened, but clearly Masamune went through some hardships and he blames me for those hardships, basically. So I think it's something that I need to do. I need to endure a hardship of myself and pretty much, be with this guy. And she pretty much explains, like, over the course of time, I've actually fell in love with him. He's like pretty much saying, she pretty much said, like, he's my first love. I fell in love with him and everything, and there's nothing that I'm going to do to stop that. So I guess it makes sense. So in her eyes, it does, even though she knows that Masamune, even though in reality it's not the case anymore now that Masamune knows the truth. What is it? She felt and she believes that she needs to earn his trust back. She needs to do the right thing and get him to fall in love with her again. So maybe he doesn't end up doing this plan because she doesn't exactly know, like, oh, he's doing this because he's gonna try to dump me, and maybe he's just messing with me, because she ends up saying, like, no, I'm truly in love. And you have it to where Fujimiya is like, why would you do that to yourself? And pretty much that's what Aki says, like, well, I love Masamune, so I'll do my best to change his mind or get him to re-fall in love with me, pretty much. Which then leads into episode 10, to where after the discussion's over, she ends up running into Yoshino, and pretty much Yoshino overhears about this. Also, too, we also have it where the one guy that likes Fujimiya overheard this entire conversation. So obviously, and we see later in episode 10, he pretty much asked to walk home and is getting her this white day present. So clearly he's trying to make his move on Fujimiya, clearly to get her attention onto him. So I guess we'll see how that story will also go as well. And they also played it off where Fujimiya, since the dude heard her conversation with Aki, she thought that the dude would probably not like her anymore, because of she did something pretty much that in all honesty, it is kind of effed up. You shouldn't be telling like somebody you know, like, to break up with your boyfriend, because that kind of sounds a little bit selfish and a little bit rude. Like, you can't tell somebody to break up with somebody that they're dating or something because this. So she thought, like, oh, I thought nobody would hang out with me or want to affiliate with me after what I said. And clearly this guy, didn't do that because he has feelings for her. He likes her. And I think in the episode, from what I remember, because I only watched it in the morning, I'm now doing this at like doing this review at like 3 o'clock. He basically, I think he got to the point where he was almost about to tell her, but something came up to where he couldn't tell her. Anyways, going back to the Yoshino Aki point, again, Yoshino overhears about this whole situation and everything from what Aki said to her, and basically that's when Yoshino just tells the truth to Aki that, it was Yoshino that pretended to be Aki, and tricked Masamune into doing this, and that's why Masamune was the individual he ended up becoming, and why he wanted to get revenge on Aki at first. So that was an interesting thing that happened right then and there. And you would think Aki would get kind of mad about that, but Aki actually surprisingly isn't too upset about that. And she actually is like, well, thank you for telling me. Now I know, I have a lot more clarity. So obviously, as the episode's going on, there's a moment to where Aki ends up calling Masamune, after the dude and Masamune, the guy that likes Fujimiya and Masamune, they end up going to the store to get a white Christmas present, or not a white Christmas, a white day present, which I think in Japan culture is like, I don't know if it's like a thing out here in United States does, but I think in Japan after Valentine's Day, they also have a day called White Day, where I guess it's kind of like the boy version of Valentine's Day, where the boys typically get something for the girls if they got a present, or I guess maybe it's the other day around. If on Valentine's Day in Japanese culture, you give out a Valentine's Day if you're a guy, well then typically in White Day, the girl would turn around and get you a present. While if a girl gave you a gift on Valentine's Day, the guy would probably, out of respect, give it back, which is actually pretty interesting. Type of culture thing, which is interesting. I don't know if I would do that. Well, obviously I would do that, but I'm saying, like, why not just both get presents the same day? But all right, whatever. So that's kind of the thing there. Now she ends up calling him, which he's kind of shocked about, because at that point in time, Masamune is like, should we go on, like, he was wondering something about Aki or whatever. So what ends up happening is he's shocked about that, and pretty much Aki asked to take him out on a date, and he's like, oh, she wants to take me on a date? And he kind of plays off like, oh yeah, I was thinking about that and everything. And in some ways you can kind of hear the unsureness in the voice, and everything, and I think Aki picked that up or something, because and pretty much they go on another date, and that's hilarious. He pretty much Masamune was like, all right, cool, I can give her the present. So pretty much they meet up at like this freaking gas station or this convenience store, and Aki pretty much found out where one of Masamune's bullies from the past was working at. And basically she tells this dude, like, hey, this is Makabe, this is Masamune Makabe, the guy that you bullied way back then, and I'm freaking Aki Adagaki. And pretty much she also says like he's not as fat as he once was, pretty much, he's a lot skinnier and he could probably kick your ass if he wanted to now. And pretty much the guy, he's like a changed individual, and he's like, oh wow, you're Makabe? And he's like, geez, you changed a lot, dude, and everything. So he ended up getting called over to continue his working shift or whatever. But it also goes to kind of show you, like, over time these bullies actually change and everything. So it was actually pretty interesting. I actually kind of forgot that from the manga, that she ended up taking him to meet one of the bullies. Now she said she did research on the other two, and she asked Masamune like, hey, you want to see the other two to see how they're doing? And Masamune is like, no, not really. And also he did say like he wasn't afraid like he was back in the past. He said he actually felt quite composed and honestly content with everything that happened. So yeah, he ends up giving her the white day Christmas, the white day present. It's some sweets, because at first he tried to make her like macarons, but he couldn't do it. And that's why he ended up going to the store and getting something, which it was funny because in the process of making the macarons, he was telling his sister like, please, I can do it. And excuse me, his sister was like, oh, come on, Masamune, you ain't making no damn macarons, pretty much. So pretty much, she takes it and she's like, wow, thanks for this and everything. And it looks like, Masamune is gonna make a move on her, like maybe touch her, maybe like, I guess you can say do something intimate, like maybe like a hug or a kiss or something, or I don't know. But she ends up bringing this up, she ends up seeing this or whatever, and she's like, in reality, I can't end up taking this gift you gave me, because I feel like you should give it to somebody that you ultimately and truly care about and love. Or she basically said that. She didn't say love, but pretty much she basically said like, you should give this to somebody that you really, really like and you really care about. And that's where we're left off on the cliffhanger, as she walks away and she says like, well, I guess I'll be seeing you around though. So yeah, and pretty much Masamune shocked about this, and yeah, basically in episode 9 she says she's in love with Masamune, only in the next episode to reveal that she basically dumps Masamune. Now, why she did this, I have no clue. Maybe she picked something up that she already didn't, that we as the audience didn't pick up. Maybe she realized something that, okay, maybe Masamune doesn't really like me, especially what he said. But it's very interesting. And obviously this creates more drama, which, if you're into the romance genre and you don't like this unnecessary drama that just comes out of nowhere, I can understand why somebody be like, wait, what the frick, man? Why are they just creating more drama? And that's kind of what this is. It's just this part in the story where they're just going to create more drama because, hey, why not? So yes, that's pretty much where the episode leaves off. So like I said, in episode 9, Aki tells Fujimiya that, oh, she loves him, after Fujimiya said like, you should break up with him. And pretty much in this episode, she pretty much dumps him and breaks up with him. And it's like, you just contradicted yourself when you said you were going to do that. So do you really love Masamune or not? So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's obviously the fact that the whole revenge plot line, when it was revealed to Aki, it's making her rethink some things in the relationship. I don't know, but I guess that's my next best guess. But Anyways, that's pretty much it. So yeah, if you guys like this week and last week's episode of Masamune Kun, you know, leave a like in the comment section as well as the subscribe button. You want to get more Masamune content as we're winding down on this season of the anime for the summer. Anyways, catch you guys in the next video. Till then, guys, stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day. Peace.